I'm Marie from Underground Crafter, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the Tunisian Simple Stitch for double-ended crochet, which is also sometimes known as the double-ended crochet basic stitch. For this particular stitch you can use any number of chains. I happen to be using 8 today. You're going to also need 2 colors and a double-ended crochet hook. So once you have the number of chains you want, you're going to start by skipping the first chain and drawing up a loop, doing what's called sometimes the standard row or the base row in every other chain across. I like to use this little back bump and put my hook into there, but you can also put your hook into the regular part of the chain. The reason I like the back bump is it makes the finished side on the top and the bottom look the same, and I'm a little bit of a symmetry freak when I feel like it. I also do a lot of asymmetrical stuff too. So for this particular stitch, again, you're going to skip the very first chain, then you're going to insert your hook into the bump or the loop of the next chain, yarn over and drop a loop. For the next one we don't have to skip, we just had to skip that very first one. So you're going to insert your hook into the next bump or chain, yarn over and drop a loop, and we're going to repeat that all the way across all of your chains until you have all of them on your double-ended crochet hook. Okay, now that we have all of our loops on the hook, we're actually going to slide over to that other hook. Remember, it's a double-ended hook, and turn it. Okay, and we'll know that we've done that because our yarn for the color we've been using will be on the wrong side. Now if you are left-handed, of course, this would be the right side and you would turn it the other way and so on, but you get the idea. The yarn won't be where you need for the part of the hook that you're using for your dominant hand. Now we're going to add a loop, and I've already made the slip knot, in the next color that you're going to use. Now there's a couple of different approaches you can take to double-ended crochet. I would say as a beginner you may want to use contrasting colors. They're easy to tell apart, but you can also use a solid and a variegated with the same color. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. So once we have that loop on, we're going to just draw it through the very first loop that we have on the hook, and you'll see we're starting our new color. So now you're going to yarn over and we're going to do our regular return that you would have done in Tunisian crochet. That counted as the chain 1 or the first yarn over and draw up a loop. Now we're going to yarn over and draw through 2 loops, and we're going to repeat that with the new color all the way across. Yarn over and draw through 2 loops until we don't have any loops left on our hook, or rather, sorry, until we only have 1 loop left. Of course, we always want to have 1 loop left. Now you'll see this first bar here is very loose. Don't worry about it, because when you switch colors again on the next row, you'll have a chance to tighten that up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do something that for those of you who've done Tunisian crochet will look very simple, similar to the Tunisian Simple Stitch. We're going to always skip this first vertical bar in both Tunisian crochet and double-ended crochet unless the pattern says we shouldn't. And then we're going to insert our hook under the next vertical bar, and that will be in the old color, and then yarn over and drop a loop in the new color. And we're going to do that all the way across. So we're going to insert our hook in the old color vertical bar, yarn over with the new color, drop a loop with the new color, and we're going to repeat that all the way across until we have loops on the hook for all the same number of chains that we started with. With Tunisian crochet and double-ended crochet, you don't have turning chains like in standard crochet, so you should always have the same number of loops on your hook as you started out with chains, unless you've been increasing or decreasing. Okay, so now that we have the color on, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to slide it down to the other end of the hook, and we're going to turn. And now we're going to pick up our other color, which is conveniently waiting here for us. And as I mentioned, we can tighten up that loose stitch now. So we're going to start with a chain 1. So in other words, yarn over and draw through 1 loop. And then we're going to yarn over and draw through 2 loops all the way across. Yarn over and draw through 2 loops. So we're really going to be making kind of working off these loops just like you would in a return row in standard Tunisian crochet that isn't double-ended. And now that we have our old color loops worked off, we're going to do our forward row. So again, we're going to insert our hook underneath the vertical bar in the old color, yarn over with the new color, and draw up a loop. And we're going to do that all the way across. And we're just going to keep repeating this until our project is as big as we want. So whenever we have our loops on the hook, we're going to know that it's time to slide over to the other side and turn. So the great thing about this is if you leave your project and you can't figure out sort of where it is, you always know that when there's loops on the hook, you want to be starting with the other color to work them off. So that'll let you know what side you should be moving towards. It should be the side where the other color is available. Now I'm going to show you how I like to work the stitches off. There's a lot of different ways that people can do this, but this is my preferred way. As I mentioned at the beginning, I sometimes like symmetry, and in these patterns I like symmetry. Now, one of the things you'll see about Tunisian crochet in this double-ended form or double-ended crochet is that while it's reversible, each side isn't exactly the same. One of the yarns is going to be more dominant on each side. But I do like to have the first row and the last row end the same way. So the way that you can do that is you want to end where you have loops of not the same colors at the beginning. I know it's a little counterintuitive. So if you want the last row to be this orange, you'll have to work until you have these yellow loops. So we're going to keep doing that until you have yellow loops, and then I'm going to show you how to finish off. Okay, so you're going to work it to the size you want, ending where you have loops of the opposite color from what you started with on the hook. And you can fasten off that opposite color once you get to that point because you're not going to need it anymore. Then, as we mentioned, we would have been on this side. You're going to slide it over to the other hook and turn it so that the final color, which is also the first color, is available. Now we're going to do our regular return row. So you're going to yarn over and draw up a loop, or chain one. It's the same thing. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops all the way across. And now we're going to do something I like to call the single crochet bind off. So we're going to insert our hook under the vertical bar in the old color. We're going to yarn over and draw up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and you'll see something on top that looks a little bit like a single crochet. Now we're going to repeat that. We're going to insert our hook under the vertical bar in the old color, yarn over and draw up a loop, yarn over and draw through 2 loops, and we're going to repeat that all the way across until we get to our very last stitch, and then I will show you what the edges look like at the top and bottom. Okay, so we're on our very last one, and we're going to draw through 2 loops, and that's it. And you'll see the edge on the top and the bottom look pretty solid. Now mine's actually a little bit loose because I was trying to do it slowly so you can all see it a little bit clearer. But if you find that your tops or your bottoms are a little bit looser than the rest, you can also use a slightly different size crochet hook for the first row. So the way you would do that, you don't need to have so many Tunisian crochet double-ended hooks. You can just use a regular crochet hook for that last row because you'll only have 2 loops on the hook at any given time. So it doesn't need to be as long as this, and it doesn't need to be double-ended. So if you needed to use a smaller hook size, you could do that as well. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. You can find the patterns that I use this stitch in linked up in the notes and also above. And subscribe to my channel for my next video, and you will always know what's coming out from Underground Crafter. Thank you so much, and have a great day.